I asked 8 loved ones what their reactions to my diagnosis was, and I wanted them to share their perspective because it does matter. Simple as that, you guys. I mean, hey everyone, this is my mom, Kathy. I wanted to ask her, like I've asked everybody else, what were your initial feelings when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis?
I was finally a little bit relieved that we had an answer as to what was wrong with you.
Yeah.
You'd had a lot of stuff go on for the last few years that we just couldn't figure out, and after that, which was probably just a nanosecond, then I was heartbroken. You never want your child, I know you're a grown woman.
You could still call me your baby girl.
But you're my baby girl. And you never want something like that to happen. I wished I could take the illness from you.
I would never wish that.
No, I know.
I don't think I'd wish it upon my worst enemy. Maybe
I know.
Then, but
a lot of thoughts went through my mind. How's this going to affect her? How's this going to affect Chris, who you just married? How's this going to affect their life? How's this going to affect their future, their employment? I mean, all of these things go through your mind. But I guess the initial part was it broke my heart.
I'm sorry. I know I didn't have a choice, but I'm sorry your heart was broken. I love you.
I love you too.
She's pretty much the best, you guys. Just saying. Hey everyone, this is my stepdad, Lynn, aka Fatty. Not because he is fat, but I've always called him that. I wanted to ask Lynn too, what were your initial thoughts and feelings when I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis?
Devastated. What do you think?
I know you were.
That's how everybody reacts, I believe.
Was that your initial feeling and like your extended feeling, or just overall?
My honest feeling, wish I got it instead of you, so you wouldn't have to get it.
You already have an autoimmune disease.
I know, but I could do 2. You do 0 would be the best way.
My family is obviously very giving, and I would never ask that or wish or hope that instead of me. One, I think I'm tougher than my mom, so for that reason, I don't think she could handle it. She's laughing her ass off in the back.
What laughing over there?
But and then him, he's already sick enough, and he already eats like shit, so he wouldn't do great with this disease.
But you would do better.
Yeah, I'm working on it. It's just taking time. Same old, but thank you.
Okay, bye everybody.
Hey everyone, this is my stepmom, Deb. She's awesome. Deb, I want to know what your initial reactions were when I was diagnosed with MS.
Okay. I was at the hospital with Chris and Thomas and Jade when they suspected something was wrong. And after a lot of research, or at least blood tests and so forth, the doctor came in and said that she'd been diagnosed with MS. And one of the things that ran through my head is, why her, first of all, and why now? And as a result, I wondered if it was genetic or so I was really confused as to why it happened. And we'd known for some time that she was having difficulty with some things, like her vision and so forth. And I'd spent a lot of time with her getting steroid infusions and so forth. And we thought it was something to do with her eyes. And then to find out later on, she was diagnosed with MS. It was really, come on in here.
This is my nephew, Logan, everybody. He just wanted to be a part of the video.
Yeah, it really, what it did is it created an awareness for me, and a lot of questions as far as what causes it. And so myself, I got online and so forth and asked people that I knew that had it as far as what, hi sweetie, as far as what, what kind of side effects are we going to see? And then later on, I find out that, everybody's different. And so, it's kind of a field and an area that just creates a lot of uncertainty. And it breaks my heart to see that she's going through this. She's my girl. I love her to death. We're really close. And
best stepmom I've ever had, and best teacher I've ever had. She was my teacher in junior and senior years in high school. She was
always
awesome.
Good,
so
always good for an excuse to get out of class.
It was awesome. So
yeah,
I love her dearly, and I say I'm sorry, but I wish I had a choice in this. I didn't, but
I know, sweetie.
I didn't want you to feel any of this.
Well, she needs to understand that we're always there for her. We'll do anything for her. She means the world to both her dad and I, and her stepsisters, and even little Logan here. So just it's important that she knows that we love her, and we're always here for her.
I've got a great family, guys. Even a great step family, obviously.
Yep.
Hi, everyone. This is my dad. My dad, Thomas, and I just wanted to know, Dad.
White chocolate.
Logan again. Dad, what were your original thoughts when I was diagnosed with MS?
Jade's my youngest daughter, and we have a very, very special relationship. We fight, we love. Out of all of my creamies, she expresses her blackness in a certain way. And when they got the phone call that she was in the hospital, I bitched up and I just like, why my baby? We have a youngest son too, that's younger than Jade, but no, things were just going well for her. She got married, got a man in her life that loves her. And I knew I was going to bitch up, but I was like, this ain't supposed to be happening. It's supposed to happen to me and not Jade. And I just wanted to make sure that, I was there for her. So when Chris called me, I hopped in the car and I just drove. And
to the hospital?
To the hospital, yeah. I just, Debbie was like, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. And I'm like, fuck that, it ain't okay. And my ex, Kathy, was there. Like, Jade looks just like her mom. So that's where you say, wait a minute, no, that's her mom. And I get there, and oh man, Jade's hair is all over the place, and I'm trying to make light of it, and then in the same respect, I'm just crying inside. And but she's come a long way.
What are a couple words in the way you felt?
This ain't right. This should not be happening. I saw the happiness. We've gone out drinking together, and
you just saw the happiness leave.
Yeah, I just saw it leave. You just was angry. You was mad at the world, and I understand it because I was mad at the world for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Not everybody's gonna see me crying on. I look like a big old gray silverback, but when it comes to my baby, there's nothing but love. We cook together. Anytime I make gumbo, I know I can get her over. Gumbo and ribs. Hey, she'll be there, so I can bribe her. But she's come a long ways, and she's got family, and she knows we love her. And whatever she's going through, I'm going through. And both of her moms are just the same. So when it comes to family, we're
Both of my moms, both of my dads, they're incredible.
loving and protecting, you know.
They are.
So
Thank you.
thank you for letting everybody see me. Love my baby.
So when I first heard about Jade's diagnosis with MS, I was pretty shocked at first, because when you hear about MS, you know it's not a good thing. And I've definitely have known people that have had it, but I've come to understand that I don't really know what it was. And so with Jade, I've been learning a lot, and it's not easy whatsoever, unfortunately. And it's one of those things it just made me so sad, because it's, you know, it's inevitable, and it's something that she's going to have to adjust to for the rest of her life. And I can just see how difficult it is to accept that, especially at such a young age, being 26 years old.
Hello. FYI, I'm very awkward on camera, so I'm sorry for that. When I first heard about Jade's diagnosis, I honestly didn't know how to react, because I felt so bad. I didn't want to be overwhelming and bombarded with questions, but I wanted to be there for her, but I wanted to give her space at the same time. So especially when I didn't know much about it, I've heard of it, but like most people, no one really knows what it is, and I don't think I fully understand it still. But my initial reaction was I just wanted to be there for her, like she's been there for me my whole life, when I needed her the most. Also, just wanted her to know how much I love her too, because I'm pretty sure I told her that, and I still tell her that.
Hi, so Jade asked me to talk about how I felt when she told me that she had MS. I remember I was driving home on a road trip when she called me and told me, and my initial reaction was, nope, total denial, can't be it. She doesn't fit the demographic, she doesn't fit the mold. Doctors are wrong. Sometimes doctors get it wrong. I immediately started researching everything else that it could be. But the more I looked into it, the more I saw that all of the weird symptoms that she had been experiencing and all the unexplained things kind of were best explained by MS. You know, you get the MRI or the imaging diagnosis, and that's pretty clear cut. So it went from denial to trying to find every other explanation possible to then trying to figure out how to fix it. And the thing that sucks is that you can't fix it. It's just there forever, and you can, alleviate some of the symptoms, but it's hard to see your friend go through that and know that there's nothing really that you can do. So I started frantically researching, and I'll have you know, Jade, I have found some things, but it made me cry. I think after the initial shock, I had a moment in my long car ride where I just cried for a while. And it's not even me, it's just my friend. My best friend, but it's hard. And it needs to be talked about more. So I'm glad that she's doing this. Good job, Jade. You're strong. Love you.
This is my husband, Chris. Chris, I kind of already know, but on camera, can you tell people what your first thoughts and even extended thoughts and feelings were when I got my diagnosis of MS?
Yeah. So initially we got the diagnosis in the emergency room on a weekend after like 2 months of kind of progressing symptoms to the point where it took me taking you to the ER. The first thing was just shock. Like, is this real life? That was the first feeling that I had. It was like rapid fire shotgun blast versus of of emotions, because right after the shock, you know, I looked at you and I looked around the room because your both sets of parents were there and everything too, and I kind of looked at everybody. And I remember standing at the foot of the bed, and I looked at everybody and I looked at you, and you just had this look on your face like you were shocked as well. Then after I saw that look on your face, that's when I got pissed and I was angry for a moment. And then I realized that at least now we have answers. So then there was a brief moment of relief, I guess, because the last 2 months, and then, you know,
Sorry.
months prior to that, intermittently, were, you know, we didn't know what was going on. So at least we had relief. And then at that point, I was like, okay, well, how do we fix it? And so I immediately began trying to learn everything that I could about it, as far as treatments, as far as prognosis, what to expect. And what we found, obviously, is that we don't know what to expect. That's one of the things about this bitch of a disease, is that you don't know what to expect. At that point, I mean, for that weekend, because you were in the hospital for 2 days at that point, and I was just kind of switched to, like I said, survival mode at that point, where I was going through and just trying to learn everything I could, reading everything I could. I found a really good source on the website, Reddit. Reddit has a subreddit for multiple sclerosis that involves caretakers and patients as well, and they can give you kind of real life accounts of what's going on, something like we're doing here. That weekend was just kind of a blur. I remember staying in the hospital with you, and I would just make sure that you were situated, you know, in your room, and then I would leave to the corner of the hospital and have a good cry, and then come back and make sure everything was okay.
I love you.
Love you. And we've been going on since then.
If I haven't said this yet, I was diagnosed 9 months into our first year of marriage. Shitty timing. But I can't even imagine where I'd be if I didn't have this man. So I'm very grateful for you. And I know I don't see it enough, but I am very grateful for you.
I love you.
I love you too. It sucks. I mean, I had a fight with my husband, and I was like, Chris, you don't have MS. You don't know what it's like to have MS. And he yelled back, you don't know what it's like to be the caregiver of a person with MS. And that kind of, it made me take a step back and say, well, you're right. I hate saying that, but he was right.